It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Wednesday, February the 28th. A little bit of a late start today. A lot of gremlins loose on stage, as they say. Rabbits loose in the courtroom, as they say. But we're back. And this is a very important thing that I want to share. And I will share this information several times throughout the morning. Members of the public are invited to please line the route of the procession following the funeral for 3 first responders. As I'm sure everybody is well aware, we lost 3 great members of our community a little over a week ago: Paul Elmstrand, Matthew Ruge, and Adam Finseth. There will be a long procession today starting at 11 a.m. This procession will depart Grace Church and go east on Pioneer Trail to Highway 169, then south on Highway 169 to Highway 13. From there, the procession will move east on 13 to County Road 11, then south to 122nd Street, west onto Parkwood Drive, passing Burnsville Fire Station number 2. From there to Burnsville Parkway, west to Nicollet Avenue. The procession will go south on Civic Center Parkway, east to 134th Street, passing the Burnsville Police Department. Then the procession returns to Nicollet, goes south to County Road 42. It will pass Prince of Peace Lutheran Church. There will then be a live stream of the service for everyone to watch. After passing the church, the procession will conclude northbound ramp to I-35W. So a couple things. First of all, there's going to be a lot of closures and a lot of delays in the South Metro today. But far more importantly, please, if you have the ability, go line the route, show your respect and share your condolences. There will be a lot of people out there. There could never be enough to honor the sacrifice that these 3 guys made, just doing their jobs as they did on February 18th.
Yeah, thank you.
It's time to go west. It's the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Mike Evans. Welcome to Wednesday. You know, a lot of celebrities love dogs. I love dogs. You love dogs. Everybody loves dogs, but there is one musician celebrity who really, really loves dogs.
Yeah.
And went on tour away from home. Her rider contract demands a small to medium-sized dog be available to stay with her at the hotel. I don't make this stuff up, folks. And while I haven't been able to get a 100% guarantee who this is, a reliable source tells me Ariana Grande, which is no big surprise. She's a big dog lover. Oh, there's going to be a documentary coming to NBC and Peacock on Michelle Wie West, the golf phenom, you've heard of her, from Hawaii, who made her first LPGA cut at the age of 13, went pro at the age of 16. She's retired last year, and her story is amazing. And no, really, I'm not just saying that because Michelle went to the same school I did in Hawaii, albeit decades and decades and decades after me. Anyway, I think it should be good. I really do. Okay, just added as presenters for the Oscars a week from Sunday, Al Pacino, Matthew McConaughey, Michelle Pfeiffer, Jamie Lee Curtis. So this past Sunday on CBS Sunday Morning Show, they did a feature on Rod Stewart, love Rod Stewart, that included Stewart bragging about his cars that he owns, including his pride and joy, a $5.5 million Ferrari. Actually, his car collection has been valued at about $20 million. Rod has always been a car nut. And here's a story about Rod Stewart and cars that dates back over 35 years. I was doing radio in Los Angeles and got scoop that Rod Stewart was in town and had just bought a very expensive Porsche with cash. Rod Stewart jumped in the car, drove off, even before he contacted his insurance company. His first stop was a few miles away, a quick stop on Sunset Boulevard. Pulled alongside the curb there, ran in to get some smokes at a liquor store. The car was left running. A couple of fans recognized him, asked him for his autograph. He was in there for about 5-10 minutes, went back outside. The car was gone, stolen, and no insurance. Hey, have a great day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Mike Evans, see ya.
There's your Mike Evans Hollywood Report. When he said a musician who loved dogs, I thought he was talking about me. I was all excited. But I've never asked for a dog to be ready at every hotel.
No.
But you know what? That's awesome. I think that's great. You get a dog out of a shelter maybe for a day, and it gets to cuddle up with a pop star, and then goes back to the shelter. Actually, it's kind of rude.
I feel sorry for the dog.
Yeah, it's kind of mean. Nah, scratch that. Never mind. Hey, Let's look back. It's February 28th. On this day in 1986, Baseball Commissioner Peter Ueberroth issued 1-year suspensions as well as heavy fines that amounted to 10% of the pay from several players. Keith Hernandez of the Mets, Dave Parker of the Pirates, 5 other players. What did they do? They were busted for their cocaine use, the largest drug abuse scandal in Major League history. 21 players in all were penalized. Okay, 21 players out of the entire major leagues. To quote the late, great Winston Churchill, never have so many owed so much to so few.
I'm glad they put their coke away and got out the steroids.
Yeah, exactly. That'll clean them out. We took 21 players out of how many guys on either roster?
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? You got to start somewhere, I guess. On this day in 2006, the San Francisco Giants in spring training had a big chemistry building exercise. And they did a whole skit where they all dressed up as judges and contestants on American Idol. And Barry Bonds dressed as Paula Abdul. And everybody, it made big news because Barry Bonds was the last guy you'd think would ever be part of anything fun. That says a lot about Barry Bonds. Listen, this is a guy, remember, Barry Bonds was at Arizona State University. He was far and away the best player in all of college baseball by a mile. And while they're on the team, he violated a team rule. The manager did what one of the rules said, which was when someone violates a rule, the team takes a vote on whether they can return to the team. Remember, Barry Bonds was the greatest player in all of college baseball. The team voted unanimously to not let him return.
Right. I think of what I would do when winning was the only thing that was important to me, because you're raised in that sports culture.
Yep.
To get rid of your best player must be one big D-bag.
Of course, the manager went, yeah, fellas, thank you for the vote, but no, we're not going to do that.
It's not a democracy.
I guess I was kidding. I didn't know how full of crap I was until you voted Barry Bonds off my team. I need a new contract. We're playing the kid.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Wednesday, February the 28th. Good morning to you on this very show. In about an hour, we are going to be giving away some tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival starring Willie Nelson. Woo. With special guests Bob Dylan and John Mellencamp. Holy crap.
Yeah, the See 'Em Before They Die tour.
September 6th at Somerset Amphitheater. You know what? No time like the present to go see all 3 of those guys. Dylan and Willie Nelson have got a few years on Mellencamp, but the 4 packs a day, he's right on their heels.
Yeah, so, he said he's cutting back to 2 packs a day, he recently said in an interview.
Well, next thing you know, he's going to be drinking water.
Going out for long walks, actually doing yoga.
Man, okay, so that is in an hour, and that's going to be awesome. I look very forward to that. In the meantime, we're about to play a game here right now, just between us. But I do need to mention, and this is important. There's a procession going around the South Metro this morning. It starts at 11 a.m. This is the funeral procession for police officers Paul Emstrand and Matthew Ruge, along with firefighter and paramedic Adam Finseth, who, of course, we lost February 18th during that domestic violence call. So today at 11 a.m., Grace Church in Eden Prairie. This procession will depart, and we would encourage anybody who's able to get somewhere along the procession route. Just there's going to be a lot of your friends and neighbors lining the route, paying their respects to these three men who died just simply doing their job, putting their lives on the line. And I'm going to give you the route right now, so just picture this in your head. So for two reasons. One, if you can make it and be a part of it, that would be something I know their families and coworkers and friends would greatly appreciate. Secondly, just to know where there's going to be a lot of traffic delays on the south side of town. The procession will depart Grace Church. It's going to go east on Pioneer Trail to Highway 169, then south on 169 to Highway 13. There, it's going to go east on Highway 13 to County Road 11, then south to 122nd Street, then west onto Parkwood Drive as it will pass the Burnsville Fire Station number 2, which, of course, is where Adam Finseth was based. The route will continue on Parkwood Drive to Burnsville Parkway, then west to Nicollet Avenue. From there, south on Civic Center Parkway, then east to 134th Street, passing the Burnsville Police Department. The procession will return to Nicollet Avenue. It will go south on County Road 42, where it will pass Prince of Peace Lutheran Church. The church will be open. They're expecting, of course, an overflow crowd, but there will be a live stream as well. You can watch this online. Links are very easy to find. After passing the church, the procession will conclude at the northbound ramp to I-35W. Motorists in the South Metro, of course, should expect road closures and traffic delays. If you have a chance to get out and be a part of that procession to pay your respects, that would be time very well spent. Also, by the way, the Burnsville-Egan Savage School District has canceled Wednesday classes because of all of the expected travel concerns. Burnsville city offices and facilities are also closed today. Dakota County public safety agencies and EMS providers will cover during the memorial. So no shortage of help is available, but the folks down in Burnsville are taking a day as well they should. Okay, so there's the information for the procession. Now to see if I can embarrass my dear friends Brian and Candace. We've all watched Jeopardy at various times in our lives, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the summer of 1984, I was the greatest Jeopardy player ever. At least my brother thought so, because we lived together in an apartment, and I got home every day at 4:30 when Jeopardy came on Channel 2, and I watched Jeopardy every day at 4:30 on Channel 2. My brother got home a little after 5, and at 5:30, the same episode aired on Channel 11. I'd already seen it. And we would sit down at 5:30 and watch Jeopardy together. And I just destroyed him all summer long. It was
like Groundhog Day.
It was the greatest cheating scandal of all time because I'd already seen the episode. I didn't get every answer right because I had to keep it kind of realistic, but I just boat raced him all summer. And on the final day before I moved out, final Jeopardy came up, and before they even gave the clue, I put the answer out there. And he goes, "What?" I go, "I think it's going to be lasagna," or whatever it was, And then all of a sudden, he just looked at me, and I said, "Man, I've been kicking your ass all summer because it's on at 4:30 on Channel 2. He wanted to murder me. Anyway, all that said, Jeopardy's not the easiest show. In fact, it's by far the hardest game show on TV. But somebody combed through all the Jeopardy archives, and they discovered what they said are the 25 easiest Jeopardy questions ever. These are real questions that were on Jeopardy, and I'd like to ask you both. Let's just play the game real quick. Let's see how we do. You can both just bark out your answer as soon as you have one. I think you'll be impressed with yourselves. Are we ready to start? Candace, are you with me?
Yes, I am, though I'm not good at this because I am
I got to frame it in the form of a question, right?
You don't have to say what is. Just throw the name. Just throw the answer out. Ready?
All right.
Okay. This brand name comes before Pieces, Fast Break, and Peanut Butter Cup.
Lasagna.
That is incorrect. Candace?
Damn it.
What brand?
Candace. I gave you this one.
Blank Pieces.
Reese's.
There you go.
Yes.
Candace Wheeler. Hang on. I got to mark this down.
Is there a monkey reference in there? Isn't there a Reese's monkey?
There is a rhesus monkey. That's very true. Okay, Candace, you got one. Well done, darling.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
very much.
It's a strong start, as I said. Okay, number 2, Barbie's bow.
Ken.
Boom. Come on, Zep. You got to get on the stick here.
I've never watched. I used to. Yeah, my sister used to have a Barbie Jeep.
Okay, well, so you're
Lucky.
close enough.
Yeah. I ran over it with the pickup.
There you go. There you go. What color was that Jeep? Pink? Is that a silly question?
It was white with pink stickers, and it had a pink roll bar. Yeah.
Is there any chance that she still remembers that? Oh, yeah, we know she does. Okay, here it is. Iowa is the USA's leading producer of this popular crop.
No, corn, of course.
There you go. All right, now you guys are talking.
Got him on my feet.
Okay, all right. A singer-actress has the following hit songs: Baby Boy, Crazy in Love, Irreplaceable.
Beyonce.
And the answer is...
You didn't have to say it fast.
Yes, it's Beyonce.
Yeah. If I'd known it, I wouldn't have said it.
In 2013, the CEO of Facebook ranked first on a list of the world's highest-rated CEOs. His name is...
Zuck.
There it is. Zuck. See? I told you, you guys are Jeopardy champions right now. Okay. Word origins. Named after a Norse god, this is also known as Hump Day.
What's his face? Not Thor's dad.
Zeus.
Odin. No, Zeus. You're going Greek there. Okay. Apollo would be Roman. Odin would be the Norse god. I don't know.
Okay. Also known as I said, Hump Day.
Oh, Wednesday.
Yeah, there you go. You got to pay close attention. I love that you found Odin, but it was Wednesday is what we're looking for. Okay, here we go. Let's regroup, people. This is Jeopardy we're talking about. This ain't Wheel of Fortune. Yeah. This ain't just a word search. Okay, at 1,214 square miles, this is the smallest of the United States.
Rhode Island.
There you go. See, you guys, I'm telling you, man.
I learned that on Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, sure you did. Is that true?
Yeah.
That's impressive. As the old saying goes, this city, quote, wasn't built in a day.
Rome.
Wow. Look at Candace. See that Italian's coming in handy. This is great.
What city was built in a day? Just name one city that was built in one day.
Dualum.
No, Alexandria. Alexander laid it out himself.
Is that true?
Yeah.
God bless him.
Yeah.
I do see things on Instagram occasionally, and it'll be like, this skyscraper was built in China in 3 days. And I'm like, good Lord, you got to be kidding me. But it seems like they skirt the building codes, but they stay up. So they got something going on.
They got the handle on slave labor. That helps.
Yeah, sure thing. Okay, how about this? Oh, gosh. Okay, pop culture. This is this question about squirrels. Sandy Cheeks wears a spacesuit and helmet underwater so she can hang out with...
SpongeBob.
That's right. Boom. Sorry. This microscopic fungus is added to bread dough to make it rise.
Yeast infection.
There you go. Exactly. See, this is so easy, guys. This is great. By the way, I've never seen any question this easy on Jeopardy. Which TV catchphrase? Which TV show has this catchphrase? It's a simple one. Ready? Dope.
Oh, Homer Simpsons.
See? Okay. Which continent contains both Paraguay and Uruguay?
South America.
Okay, this is getting ridiculous. I'm checking my sources. These were literally on Jeopardy. It just seems so easy to me.
Yeah, right. What was this? The little kid version? Was this the elementary school kids?
This is full on from the files, from the archives of Jeopardy itself.
You know what I think it is? You sneak one of these in there because you got a bunch of overthinkers, right? You got a bunch of brainiacs.
That's exactly
on that
right.
show. I mean, they're digging so deep. I think this probably catches them in the headlights a little bit. They're like, is this a trick question? It's too easy for Jeopardy. They must be trying to trick me.
It's really true. Okay, a boy king, the boy king who reigned from 1333 to 1323 BC.
David.
Nope. It was a big news story in 1922. The boy king who reigned.
Tut.
There you go, King Tut, baby. They found his tomb.
Funky Tut.
And Steve Martin wrote a song. And boy,
Yeah.
the 70s were lit. Okay. Oh, some of these are just getting to be kind of embarrassing. I'm sorry. I was really hoping for a whole lot more.
This is more embarrassing than I thought Candace and I would be embarrassing ourselves. Jeopardy is embarrassing themselves.
It's really true. Okay, here's a good one. The U.S. postal abbreviation for Arkansas.
Isn't it? No, it's not AK. That's Alaska. AR?
AZ.
AZ.
The answer? AR.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
wait, there's not even is there a Z in Arkansas?
Yeah, they're Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Okay. Boy. Last one. Some doctors say that drinking coffee can reduce the risk of asthma thanks to this stimulant found in coffee.
Caffeine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry. You know, I got it. I'm going to rethink this whole Jeopardy thing. I thought surely there'd be at least one curveball, but the point remains, you'll never make it on Jeopardy no matter what because you're not getting questions like that.
No way.
I tell you what, man. I was always great at Trivial Pursuit, always a pretty good Jeopardy player, but lately, I don't think Jeopardy's gotten harder. I mean, I doubt they're intentionally ratcheting it up. But when I watch Jeopardy now, I'm horrible. I'm the worst I've ever been.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know. There must be. It's like the Jennifer Aniston ads. I think I'm forgetting information as I learn new information. But I'll be watching Jeopardy, and I'm starting to do that thing where I know the answer, but I can't find the word. It's like, of course I know that. And then Hammurabi, of course. I was thinking MC Hammer or whatever. But it's gotten to a point now where I'm very, very, very aware that the words, like I said, it's in there somewhere. But man, just getting it out is just not as easy as it once was.
You know what I think it is, honestly? You're doing FM radio now. We cover so much nonsense every morning, your head just gets jammed with crap.
That very well might be the case. That's entirely possible.
All right, here's one for you.
This term for a long-handled gardening tool can also mean an immoral pleasure seeker.
Wow!
No. Whoa! Al, what's a rake? A rake is...
Yeah, rake. That's rake.
That is
Ken
hilarious.
Jennings got that one wrong. But he was right on that. How about some more nonsense? Should we get along to some more nonsense? By the way, the Outlaw Festival coming out to Somerset, right? It's going to be in Somerset this year with Willie and Waylon and the boys. Playing the part of Waylon would be Mellencamp, I guess. Dylan's going to be out there. What a great place to catch it this summer. We have tickets up for grabs. Little kid or drunk adult, backed by popular demand. That's going to happen at 8 o'clock. As far as the nonsense we have coming up, what the heck are we doing?
I think we need to have a conversation about what you'd be willing to give up to move to your favorite place.
Oh, really?
How about that?
All right.
Let's do it.
The wheels are turning. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. In about 30 minutes, we're giving away tickets. Oh, my gosh. Are we ever giving away tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival? Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, John Mellencamp, Friday, September 6th at the Somerset Amphitheater. Keep listening for your prompt to get involved. We're going to play a game. We're going to give away tickets. That's how cool we are. In the meantime, yesterday on this show, first things first, Tony's out today. Not feeling great. Get well soon, brother. We hope to see you back tomorrow. Yesterday, we talked about the fact that a lot of Americans, a third of Americans polled, said they would give up their job for another for the same pay. They would just make a lateral move. A lot of people are dissatisfied with where they are, and they would move. They would change jobs for the exact same money, exact same benefits, just to try something new. I get it. We've all had wanderlust, either job wanderlust or wanderlust or whatever kind. The grass is always greener. And I got to thinking, what would you give to be able to go? Like, do you have a place? If I could say, okay, you can live anywhere, but you got to give something up. What would you give to go away to your dream location?
I did it.
And what's that? What's your dream location?
Well, when I got blown out of KQ back in 2017, I got fired. But another radio station in town immediately offered me a job. I turned it down and took 70% less pay to move to Montana, gave up all my close friends, some of my family that I wouldn't be seeing on a weekly, daily basis.
Right.
And then what else did I give up? I gave up something else in the process. But anyway, yeah. So, I mean, it's to move to where I wanted to go. I just decided
it was worth doing.
Yeah, just set a lot of money aside, set the money aside, and set some close relationships aside. I didn't end everything and bolt. But just to live in Montana.
Yeah, life gave you an opportunity, and you took it for better or worse. Candace, is there a place you'd go if you could go anywhere? Do you have one spot in mind?
To live forever, huh?
Well, at least for a few years. Like, what's the place?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely live in Italy again. I think about it all the time, and it's just a better life over there.
That's nice to know. I dig it, man. I feel that way about. I've been to Spain on several occasions. And I had an idea in my mind when I started touring in the 90s. First time going to Europe, I had an idea of what Italy would be like, based on just literally watching movies and some history. But I had an idea of what I thought the Italian experience would feel like. And what I had in my head was what turned out to be Spain. I was in Spain, and I was like, this is what I thought Italy was going to be like. And then when I got to Italy, I was like, this is not at all what I thought Italy would be like. I still liked it, but I had this thing, and I've always been connected. I've always loved anywhere I've been in Spain ever since. So I think if you said you get to go anywhere, I'd probably give Spain a whirl. But here's the thing. Now I'm going to put a little wrinkle on it. What would you give to go, what would you be willing to give to go somewhere you really wanted to go? Because there's a lot of people who live in a place called Villas Las Estrellas. I don't know how you pronounce it. Villas Las Estrellas. It is a Chilean property that happens to be in Antarctica. And a lot of people move there. Listen, it's a little town. There's about 100. There's about 100 people there, mostly scientists, and then Chilean Air Force or Navy personnel. But when people go there for a longer time, they bring along their families. There's a post office, a small school, a bank, other basic facilities. It's one of the most remote places on Earth, and in fact, it's been called the closest you can get on Earth to experiencing life on another planet. So for a lot of people, this is something really cool. To get there from Chile, it's a 2.5-hour flight on a C-130 military cargo plane. You have to wear earplugs and headphones because it's so loud in the plane. So right away, you're like, okay, fine, I'll risk losing my hearing to get down there.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, because it's so remote, and there are people who sign up to go. Again, people want to get there. Here's the craziest thing to me. You can go. You can apply. It will be approved. Mandatory for everyone, even children. You have to have your appendix removed.
All right. Well, I mean,
there's a place on Earth there before you get to move there. They insist they remove your appendix.
Oh, my God.
That is wild. Because here's the thing: there's the nearest major hospital is 600 miles away, and if you have a ruptured appendix, your appendix is no big deal unless it ruptures, and then it can kill you. And because it takes forever to evac people out, and sometimes the weather makes it impossible to get out, they don't want you dying, and they look around and they go, the one thing we can do to make sure we don't have this experience, so we just cut out the appendixes. So every single person at this place is missing their appendix already. That's just astounding to me that exists.
You'd think it's a village filled with scientists, you said. You'd think one of them would know how to remove an appendix with a spoon. You hear about all those. In fact, there was a couple of, one of them was a Minnesota lady. They were trekking across the Arctic, not Antarctic, and one of them had an appendix thing, and the other lady removed it for her on the go out in a tent. I may have made that up.
No, that sounds right.
Something like that.
There was a case in Antarctica in the 60s where a bunch of Soviet scientists were down there near the South Pole, and the surgeon of the group himself had appendicitis. Right. He removed his own appendix. That's
double tough.
Intense.
Yeah,
that's
no
pretty
kidding.
great.
You know what? If it was Paradise, if it was literally on, on Maui or something like that, Kauai. I can't forget which island I like so much down there. But in Hawaii, however, I just Googled your icy village where you must remove your appendix.
Right.
And what a crap hole. This looks like the world's worst trailer park. It's really, that's why do you want to be there? What are they studying? What the hell are they studying?
And I for the military guys, like there's a guy who's been down there for a couple of years. He's the commander of the island. Yeah. He's got his family with him. He's like, hey, I'm the commander. I'm having a great time down here.
Yeah.
His wife and his son have been there. They occasionally go back to Chile. My man has not left this place in over 2 years.
Yeah, that's he must have puked on like a 4-star general or something like that, or slept with his daughter or something like that. We got a place for you, and that's where they threatened to send you. I think probably if you're not squared away.
In that area, penguins have no fear of humans. They've never been hunted by humans.
Okay.
So one of the benefits is penguins approach you. You hang out with them. You can pet them. They're very friendly. They're just a part of the landscape.
What do they taste like?
Penguins. Oh, I'm sure somebody knows. But that's there. Wow. If you're looking for a reason to get rid of that appendix and you like a good cold climate year round, you have a place to go. There's something you can set your sights on.
An environment dominated by jagged black rock and white ice.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Hey, speaking of setting your sights on something, I don't know if either one of you has been paying attention on any level to women's college basketball the last few years, but Caitlin Clark, who plays for the Iowa Hawkeyes, holy crap, is she extraordinary.
She came onto my radar when she was on the Mannings, one of the Monday night broadcasts, how they bring their guests in. And they brought her in, Caitlin Clark. And I was like, oh, she goes down to Iowa. And then all of a sudden her name starts popping up now daily.
A kid from Iowa, grew up playing basketball. By the time she was like 14, she was banned from playing on boys' teams because they were they freaked out that she would destroy everybody. Yeah. She is playing in Minneapolis tonight against the Gophers. She is at the University of Minnesota tonight, and she is 50 points shy of the all-time Division I basketball scoring mark. Still sitting somehow atop that list is Pete Maravich from LSU in the late 60s. She, with 50 points, which, by the way, she will break this record. The crazy thing is that there's a very good chance she'll do it tonight because getting 50 in a game is hardly out of her reach. Yeah. It might happen at Minnesota tonight. So the women's record, she got that one at home last week against in Iowa. I think it was against Nebraska or Indiana. Who cares? She did it at home. She hit a 3-pointer to set the all-time women's scoring mark. She shot the ball from, no exaggeration, 35 feet.
Yeah,
she shoots farther. She shoots from farther away than Steph Curry. Wow. She's incredible to watch. By the way, she leads the nation in scoring and assists. She is not a one-trick pony. So she's playing over on the campus tonight. Anybody that has tickets, the game is sold out. The entire Big Ten women's tournament is sold out.
Yeah.
Because of one woman, Caitlin Clark. She's outstanding. And here's the craziest thing. She has one more year of eligibility. She doesn't have to go pro. She missed a year for COVID. She could potentially play one more year at Iowa. I think she will go pro. There's a lot of money waiting for her.
Yeah.
But that's going to go down tonight. We'll let you know. It's an exciting thing. Women's basketball, her game where she set the record on the same day, it went head-to-head nationally with the Boston Celtics Milwaukee Bucks game. The best team in the East versus the team everyone is claiming will be the underdog pick in the East. And the ratings for the women's game at Iowa, they killed the NBA that day. I mean, she has really single-handedly invigorated an entire sport, and she's, by all accounts, just a hell of a kid, and it's just amazing to see. So anybody that's going down to the game tonight, you're going to get a show. Make no mistake about that. That's pretty exciting. But I do have to mention this. As I said a minute ago, the all-time scoring record for college basketball, men's or women's, is still held by Pete Maravich. He scored 3,667 points without a three-point shot.
It's mind-boggling. I mean, and he was playing at
crazy.
LSU. It wasn't like he was in some obscure conference out in the middle of nowhere, Division II. I guess this is the D1 record, but you know what I mean, where he could just stack up points. I mean, he was playing against some top-tier talent.
It's absolutely astounding to think that someone scored that many points without a three-point shot. I mean, that's a guy on a whole different plane right there, man, Pete Maravich. And as long as we're talking about sports and crazy things, you might want to double-check any boxes or bins in the basement or attic of your parents' house that may or may not contain your former sports trading cards. Over the last decade, and especially during COVID, for a variety of reasons, trading cards value has just gone through the roof. It's exploded. When I was a kid, you'd hear about somebody has a Jim Brown rookie card and it's worth $5,000. And you'd be like, $5,000? Well, cards go for literally millions now. And a basement in Saskatchewan in Canada is the site of this next story. Gentleman goes in the basement, finds a few boxes. He realizes, my old hockey cards from years and years ago are just sitting here. He found a large box, 16 boxes, each containing 4 packs of cards. So 48 packs of a brand of hockey card called the OPC hockey cards from 79-80. That's about 10,750 cards in the wrappers, never touched, unwrapped.
They're all in there.
And in that collection will be a whole lot of Wayne Gretzky rookie cards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's hard to put a price on. Of course, that will bring the price down a bit, but they're still good. But if you got a bunch of them in there, he's got over 10,000 cards.
Because he's got over 10,750 of these cards that have never been opened. And so, so here's the deal. This is the most famous set of OPC cards ever because of the Gretzky rookie card.
Yeah.
And now nobody's gone through this box yet, but they've been able to determine there are at least 24 Gretzky rookie cards in this collection.
Wow.
Okay. Unopened again. So Heritage Auctions is a company that put them up for auction. The box of cards unopened. Not a guarantee that how many Gretzky cards are in there. It just sold for $3.7 million.
All right. Here's what I would do. Not open the damn box.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd want to know, but there are a bunch in there. You don't have to know how many. You take that box, you put it on the shelf like the collectors do.
Yeah.
And then 5, 10, 20 years from now, you sell it for $10 million. I mean, it does have to be. I wonder what a Wayne Gretzky rookie card of the, I forgot what you called it, OPC? Chia Pet?
OPC.
Yeah. The OPC Cards, man. Now they did find like a Honus Wagner, some guy that was dealing shoe polish back in the 1940s or something like that.
Yeah, right.
The shoe polish company, and I'm getting it wrong, I'm pretty sure, but it was some company like that put out their own baseball cards, and he found them in his dad or his grandfather's attic, and they had all these Babe Ruth, Honus Wagner, I mean, just Ty Cobb, trading cards in there, baseball cards in there, and it flooded the market. There was like 500 of them in there, and it ended up flooding the market, driving the price down. Still very expensive, upset some collectors, but this one will rock. I mean, is there a more collectible card in hockey than Wayne Gretzky's rookie card?
I can't imagine there is. There's just no way. Baseball cards still top the list for most expensive cards ever sold. And in fact, a couple years ago, a 1952 Mickey Mantle card that was, cards get a number rating of 1 through 10. And if a 10 means it's literally unopened. Like if you have a 10, it's cherry was, if you'd call a car that. A 1952 Mickey Mantle card that is rated a 9.5 out of 10 sold 2 summers ago for $12.6 million. Somebody is holding a baseball card, and they paid $12.6 million for it. A 1909 Honus Wagner went for $7.25 million in 2022. I mean, that is a astounding thing. The Baltimore News Babe Ruth rookie card. I mean, of all the things, the Baltimore News, that's over $7 million sold. Honus Wagner has a lot of these on the top 10. But here's one that really surprised me. This was like shocking. A LeBron James Upper Deck Exquisite Collection card from his rookie year. A LeBron James card went for $5.2 million. That seems weird that something that's so recent history, only 20 years old, would already be up to $5 million.
So you bank it. You put it in the safety deposit box, and the grandkids are going to cash in huge. I've got
a buddy in Nashville, a musician, who grew up with older brothers, and they collected cards and cards and cards. And he's got, I believe, I don't believe this. I know this to be true. He has every single NFL card from every team. He's got the entire league sets from 1958 through 1980.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's got 4 or 5 Jim Brown rookie cards. Now, none of them are 9.5s or 9s. They're all like 3 or 4s because they were handled when they were kids. But that said, just because his brothers would say, let's just buy the whole league, they would buy every card, like Topps or whichever company it was, and then they saved them, and they're in books, and he's got every single one of them. And I mean, the cumulative amount of all of those adds up. I don't even want to know, because I know where he lives, and it would tempt me too much to go steal all that stuff. But, we had baseball cards in my house as a kid, and they ended up with clothespins in the spokes of our tires, making a racket.
Just destroyed. I had football cards. That was my big thing. I didn't collect baseball cards. I was so into the NFL in the 70s as a young kid that I collected football cards. And I mean, if you gave me $1, I was going right down to B&K Locker in Woolsey, South Dakota, and I was buying as many baseball or football card packs as I. But yeah, I ended up trashing them all. And I remember at some point, Mom calling me when I was in the Army. What do you want me to do with all these old cards? I'm like, just pitch them, Mom. Probably not a good idea. By the way, Carl Kistner was the baseball fanatic, found in his grandfather's attic $3 million worth of cards that included Ty Cobb, Cy Young, and Honus Wagner. At the time, all uncreased, all in perfect, unopened condition. Yeah. Not bad.
That's truly life-changing. And boy, nothing better than life-changing money that you did nothing to earn.
Right?
All you did was open a box. That was it. That was the extent of your efforts. I saw a box in my dad's basement. I opened it up, and suddenly I was wealthy for generations.
Don't throw away your kids' crap. I'm not in charge of my kids' crap. Their mom is. But Candace, and I'm not even teasing you here, she was the big Pokemon card collector, which we have teased her about mercilessly. But they're going for big money, but Mom...
Yeah, thanks, Mom, for ditching all my cards, man. I had the coolest cards. I had a whole binder full, the holographic, the Japanese
they were in the plastic,
ones.
Well kept, probably because you're a girl and you didn't, destroy them on the playground. Suck on them.
Man, we had a shoebox of nothing but Pokemon cards in the house at one point, and then gave it to like a niece's daughter. They had a baby, or they have a toddler who just discovered Pokemon. Oh, get those things out of the closet. Yeah, I don't know what we were thinking. Just handed them right over.
I got a fly fishing rod from my great-grandfather. That was what was stuck in his attic. And I went to fly fishing. I don't even fly fish, but I'd take it down to the dugout or whatever and, fish for bullheads. Ended up absolutely destroying it. Talking to a guy in Montana many years later, and he had, I'm forgetting the brand. It was had a V in it. But anyway, he had one of those. I said, oh, my great-grandfather had one of those in his attic, and I yanked it out of there and he goes, where is it?
Oh, no,
I don't know. I probably got pitched out. I don't know, or something that was bamboo or something like that. I'm sure it got destroyed. And he's like, oh, my God, those were handmade, original fly fishermen would have. Yeah, and you almost don't even want to know about this stuff, the money we've pitched over the years.
My mom has had a mandolin for my whole life. There's just a mandolin in the house, and it belonged to her grandmother, who got it from someone in the Michigan 1/10 from the Civil War. I don't know, some crazy story that this mandolin, and it's just in the house my whole life. I'm in my mom's house in Kentucky a couple of years ago, and I see that mandolin still sitting there. I said, Mom, what is the deal with this mandolin? It dates back to the mid-19th century.
Ooh.
And I said, there's a place in Nashville, a very famous guitar shop called Gorman's, and they have these guys that assess and repair and let you know what you're sitting on. I said, let me take this down there. I know one of the repair guys. And I told him I was bringing it. He goes, yeah, man, shoot, bring it in if it's that old. And he goes, tuning pegs still work? I go, I'm afraid to touch it. I'm just going to bring it to you. I bring it down to him, and he takes one look at it. He goes, oh, yeah, it's a spider web made by so-and-so and so-and-so. And he goes, yeah, sorry, these are so well made, there's thousands of them still in existence. And I was like, wait, what? And he goes, literally, it's one of the great mandolins ever made at that time. But he said, I think it was called it's something to do with the word spider web. I don't know anything about the instrument. But he literally said, there are so many of these that it's just, yeah, you could probably get $500 or $600 for it. And I was like, man, I wanted like $1 million.
Yeah, right. Exactly, like the Stradivarius of mandolins.
That was just not meant to be, baby.
No, it wasn't. All right, we need to, we're going to give something of a lot of value. It's not used. It wasn't found in an attic. In fact, it's coming up, the Outlaw Music Festival. Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, John Mellencamp, all together in one spot, Friday, September 6th at Somerset Amphitheater. Prize provided by Live Nation. Those tickets go on sale Friday at 10 a.m., but hey, why not win them before you can buy them? We'll take two callers now. 651-989-ROCK. This morning we're playing Little Kid or Drunk Adult. And our runner-up today, Rockin' with Dockin' and Bullet Boys, Saturday at the Medina Entertainment Center. Thank you, Medina. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck and hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, February the 28th. Good morning. Or as they say in Germany, Guten Morgen, I think.
I think so.
We just heard John Mellencamp, back when he was John Cougar Mellencamp, rocking Little Pink Houses. He will be rocking, most likely, that song and a bunch of other ones that we all know and love, September the 6th. At the Somerset Amphitheater, he's going to be there on the Outlaw Music Festival with Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan. And that's going to be a great show. I will be there. I can't speak for Zepp or Candace or Tony.
You're taking me, buddy. You're taking me along. You're going to just go under your jacket.
I'll actually be tubing. I'll be nearby at the river tubing when you guys are there. So
nice. Very
watching
nice.
it on Jumbotron, maybe.
We'll all be there. We will not be square. We thought we'd give away tickets to the show because that's kind of how we roll. And we thought, what better way than to play Little Kid or Drunk Adult? And I'd like to state for the record, I have seen Willie Nelson, I've seen Bob Dylan, and I've seen John Mellencamp all as an adult, and I was drunk all 3 times. So there you have it. So I think this is a perfect thing to do. So we're going to play. It's an old classic around here. We always have a good time. And it's far more difficult of a game than you may think. Yeah. Yet last time we played it, we had both players got 2 out of 3. And I think that was the first time we've ever seen that. Still never had both players run the table. So with that in mind, let's get right to it. Candace, we have a couple of callers who are locked and loaded for Little Kid or Drunk Adult. Who's number 1?
We have Tabitha from Ham Lake.
Tabitha, good morning.
Good morning.
How you feeling so far today?
I'm excited to win.
I like it. The competitive juices are flowing within Tabitha. All right, fair enough. So this is for Outlaw Music Festival. Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, John Mellencamp. Zepp, take it away.
Tabitha, now wait a second. Didn't that name first appear on Bewitched, or did I just make that up? Kind of like Wendy did. Yeah, it did first. Yeah, I know Wendy was Peter Pan, right? Disney invented the name Wendy, and some television writer invented your name. How do you feel about that, Tabitha?
The Bewitched movie, but mine's from the Bible.
Oh, okay.
I got it first.
All right, sounds good. All right, Tabitha, here we go. We're going to turn it over here to Sam, and you're going to tell us if Sam was a little kid when he did this, or was he a drunk adult?
I was so into the Super Bowl, I accidentally broke my parents' TV.
Oh, smash the TV up on Super Bowl Sunday, but as a little kid or a drunk adult?
Little kid.
I was actually a kid. It was halftime, and my brother and I were throwing the Nerf around until I had to make a diving catch, and boom, down went the Samsung.
That's why Dad told me we couldn't throw the ball inside. All right, 1 for 1. Tabitha, you're off to a hot start here.
Yeah, strong start. Well done.
All right, this is David.
I got detained by the police because I was jump roping naked on the side of the road.
Oh, he got busted by the cops for jumping rope naked on the side of the road. As a little kid or a drunk adult, Tabitha?
I would think drunk adult.
Believe it or not, I was a drunk adult. I was drinking like I did back in my college days, blacked out. Then, I don't know how it happened. I started jump roping in the street, stark naked.
Yeah, that's how it happens.
You could do a lot of damage to yourself jump roping naked after the age of like 12. Holy crap.
Yeah, no kidding.
Tabitha, flopping. 2 for 2.
Wow, the very rare 3 for 3 is within reach. Here we go, Tabitha. This is Paul.
I threw a clothes iron out the window and happened to hit my brother in the head.
Ooh, threw a clothes iron out the window, as you do, and hit his brother in the head. But as a little kid or a drunk adult?
Oh, those things are heavy. I'm thinking adult.
I was a drunk adult.
Oh.
My brother was helping me move from my house in college. We thought getting hammered was a good idea. This led to me drunkenly throwing out most of my worldly possessions. When I got to my clothes iron, I chucked it out the second-story window into the dumpster below, not knowing that my brother was in there retrieving everything I was throwing away of value. The iron caught just enough my brother's head to knock him out cold.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he didn't know his brother was down there. I mean, that's the story he's sticking with. Tabitha, 3 for 3. I don't know what to tell you. You're in fantastic shape.
Man, that is...
Pressure's on.
That's as rare... I mean, that's a white buffalo around these parts. 3 for 3 in Little Kid or Drunk Adult. Very well played, Tabitha. All right, sit tight. We gotta go to contestant number 2 for right now. Candace, who is contestant number 2?
Kara from Zimmerman.
Kara, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you ready to play Little Kid or Drunk Adult?
Sure, let's go.
All right, I like that attitude. Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, John Mellencamp tickets on the table. You're going to have to go 3 for 3 in order to push this to a tiebreaker. Best of luck, Kara.
Suddenly turned into Beat the Toaster around here.
Yeah.
All right, Kara, here we go. This is Mitch.
I punched a farmer in the face when he made fun of me for how I ate corn.
All right, that's called that one in. So Mitch said, punched a farmer in the face who made fun of him for how he ate corn, but as a little kid or a drunk adult?
Little kid.
I was a drunk adult. I was over at my ex-girlfriend's house while, she was having a party. Her uncle is a big-time farmer, right? He saw how I was eating my corn and started making fun of me in front of everyone. I was drunk and didn't understand what was happening, so I just punched him in the face, and he proceeded to beat my ass in front of the entire party.
Yeah, that's what farmers do.
That'll happen, yeah.
That'll be true. All right, well, Kara, here's the deal. You've got the runner-up prize, but you've got to earn it, and that means you have to finish the game here with us. For entertainment purposes and legal purposes, too. I think I signed something. So, Kara, let's, just for fun, play along here. Now we have Marina.
I played bingo with a motorcycle gang who were high on acid.
Okay, she played bingo with a motorcycle gang high on acid. Her name is not Hunter S. Thompson, but was she a little kid or a drunk adult?
Adult.
Let's hope.
I was a little kid.
Little kid.
My less than responsible babysitter took me to a party at some really weird dude's house. Yeah. And turns out they were all part of a biker gang who were high on acid. But we played bingo like all night.
Turns out they were a really pleasant guy. Well, that's how you tame down bikers. By the way, club, I believe, is the preferred word there over gang. But, all right.
Yeah. That's like the Robbie Benson movie. It's not a gang, mama. It's a club.
And, Carol, would you, one more time, we give you Jerry.
I got caught stealing a blue raspberry Slurpee from 7-Eleven by putting it in my pants.
All right. He shoplifted a Slurpee by putting it in his pants? Was he a little kid or a drunk adult?
Drunk adult.
I was actually a little kid. My friends dared me to steal Slurpee. I put it in the front of my pants, and I was caught immediately.
Yeah.
The whole thing was on security camera. My only hope is that it does not exist to this day.
I'll Google it a little bit later. All right, there you go. We have little kid or drunk adult in the bank.
Kara, 1 for 3, but nothing to sneeze at. You do have a runner-up prize. That's tickets Saturday at Medina Entertainment Center to see Dokken and Bullet Boys, where the down boys go, I think. So congrats there. But Tabitha, my gosh, the rarest of all events, 3 for 3. You have clearly both been a little kid and a drunk adult. Yeah. And now you will clearly enjoy the Outlaw Music Festival. Willie, Bobby, and Johnny, September 6th. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, guys. That was great.
Thank you very much. And I believe because she did get the 3 for 3, we're giving her 2 tickets to that.
Isn't that nice of us?
Yeah, that's pretty special.
Oh,
that's cool.
And you also have to sing Blowing in the Wind a cappella. So get ready. Wait, hold on. I'm being told that's not true. Sorry.
No, not so much. I remember, the Dylan shows are infamous for, everybody that's been to many Dylan shows like myself is, was it a good show? Did Bob show up or did he, maybe phone it in? I think sometimes he tries to rearrange his music and it works against him. But I remember one time listening to a tune, I'm like, what is this Dylan song? He's got so many albums out. It's hard to know. I only made it through like the mid 80s with albums and I haven't heard the last couple. And turns out it was, in fact, Blowing in the Wind. He had rearranged it. I had no idea, but Bob's going to show up with Willie and Mellencamp there. I remember watching him on MTV. Yeah, Bob Dylan was on MTV. They were interviewing him probably right after that We Are the World nonsense and asked him who his favorite artist was in the day, and he mentioned Mellencamp. He thought he was doing the best work at the time.
Yeah, I'm a Dylan lifer, man. I've loved Bob Dylan for as long as I can remember, but I have been at Dylan gigs where I was like, okay, I'm not waiting around for the end of this. The last time I saw him, Rosemary and I saw him in the fall of 22. We missed him in Nashville. We were out of town. And a buddy of mine said, dude, you didn't see Dylan. It was the best I've ever seen him. And I laughed. He goes, no, I'm dead serious. Yeah. He was so invigorated. Doesn't play guitar anymore. He just plays piano. But the band was great. And I was like, really? And then I saw he was playing in Birmingham, about 2.5 hour drive the next week. So we went down and saw him in Birmingham, Rosemary's hometown. And it was truly as good as I'd ever seen Dylan. Same exact experience. We had a blast. And so I felt at the time, great, I'm going to leave it here. You know what I mean? You want to go out with a win, but then he's coming back with Willie and John Mellencamp, and I'm going to see that too. And by God, I hope he's great.
Oh, yeah. I think he will be. You know, I saw him play with the Jayhawks. I think he steps up when he's out with someone, whether it be the Grateful Dead or Mellencamp and Willie, and he played with the Jayhawks. I want to say Target Center, mid-'90s, but the old memory, right? I've killed a few brain cells over the years, but amazing. Just nailed it with those guys on a show at the Orpheum. And then there were some, I think it goes back to when he was booed. He's had a contentious relationship with audiences over the years. I think there's something about if he doesn't feel like, he's getting the love that he's owed, then you're not going to get the best out of him. But he is right there at the top of the pyramid.
We did a gig in 1995. My former rock and roll combo, the Black Crowes, we were touring in Europe with the Rolling Stones, a rock and roll combo from London, you may be familiar with. Mm-hmm. We played a bunch of stadiums in Europe with the Stones, and at Montpellier in the south of France, Bob Dylan was added to the bill. So a couple moments that you just never forget. One is you're on the bus, you're pulling into this backstage at this giant outdoor venue, and the posters, and you see, Rolling Stones, Bob Dylan, Black Crowes. It was kind of like, oh, that's pretty cool. Just that it's one of the I don't have a ton of posters, but I made damn sure to get one of those. So they're playing this gig. We do our set. Dylan does his set, and then the Stones go up and they ask Dylan to come out and sing with them. They have been on that tour. They were covering Like a Rolling Stone. The Dylan song, Like a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
And so they're like, yeah, Bob, come out and sing. And Bob says, yeah, let's do it. Mick introduces him. Bob walks out, and I'm like, we're on the side of the stage like, this is unbelievable, man. I'm watching Bob Dylan sing Like a Rolling Stone with the Rolling Stones. They start the track. The Stones are playing the song very much the way they play it every night. There's an arrangement. The drums kick in, 4 bars, boom, verse, vocal, 8 bars, boom, chorus. Like there's no variation. Well, Bob didn't come in singing when they were expecting him to, because he's Bob.
Yeah.
So he starts singing the first verse of the chorus of the verse with the band, and the band's not even paying attention. They probably don't even have his vocal in their monitors, so they're just playing the song the way they play it. They go to the chorus way before Bob expects them to. And he turns around like, what the hell? And the band comes around, and he's not even singing it yet. They're looking, and you can tell the guys in the band are like, hey, come on, man, you missed it. They go around again, and Mick is trying to tell them what to do. There's 70,000 people watching, and Dylan is making no effort to figure. He's just like, what are you guys doing? Because in Bob's world, they never play the same song the same way twice. I mean, it's like you just follow his cue. And Bob finally gets on a mic and he's singing, but you can't really tell what it is. And everyone on stage is just kind of looking. Bob just, at some point, just walks off stage. He walks off stage and he turns around and he literally flips the Rolling Stones a bird.
Oh, my God.
He gets to the set, turns back, and he just throws up a middle finger, and we're all going, oh, my God. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I think I'd rather see that than him come out and nail Like a Rolling Stone with the Rolling Stones.
It was the best.
I mean, because that's only going to happen once. That's amazing. That's very cool.
That was my second favorite Bob Dylan side of the stage story. And the second, the most favorite was he was on the side of the stage. 6 years later, 2001, we're on tour with Neil Young and Crazy Horse in Europe. And we're playing in this little town called Brescia in Italy. The most picturesque, beautiful gig we've ever played. It's in the middle of a little town's plaza, the piazza, right? It's like a rectangular plaza surrounded by 2- and 3-story apartments. It looks like something out of Cinema Paradiso, like a scene. And we're on at sunset on a summer night, big fountain in the middle, 5,000 people crammed into this plaza. Just gorgeous. And during our set, Neil Young, as he did most of the show, he'd come up and watch a song or two. He's over by our monitor board. So I'm on stage. I look over and I see Neil. And the next night at the same event, Bob Dylan was going to play. So he came down a night early to see his old friend, Neil Young.
Yeah.
Well, I look over at the monitor board, my sound guy on the side of the stage, and he's standing there, and our monitor guy is standing there looking at me like, do you need more bass in your monitor? That's what he's usually looking like. Well, tonight, he just has this weird crap-eating grin on his face because right to his left is Bob Dylan and Neil Young standing there together watching the show. And I'm playing, and I look over, and I'm like, there's Neil Young, that's one thing, and I've seen Bob Dylan, that's one thing, but they're together, and they're talking. And I immediately am like, this is like the Salt 2 treatment, this is like the... This is like Roosevelt and Churchill,
right?
And Stalin. Like this is a summit meeting of the minds. Oh my God, what are Neil Young and Bob Dylan talking about watching my band? Show ends. I go over to Drew. I go, man, that was so cool to see them there together. He goes, I couldn't believe it. I was freaked out. They were both right there. And I go, what were they talking about? He goes, oh, that chick in the front row in the yellow top. I was like, yes. Oh, okay, some things never change.
Yeah, some things never change. All right, we got some guests coming up here. A couple of guests. We're going to go true crime at 9 o'clock. Christian Hansen, another one of these Netflix docuseries just coming out. Yeah, I know. This one, The Octopus Conspiracy. That's all I'm going to say. I don't even know what the heck it's about. But if it's a Netflix docuseries, I'm not missing it on true crime. Our guest coming up here before the bottom of the hour, you probably have seen him on late night television. He's headlining Laugh Camp Comedy Club. Josh Gondelman, I hope I got that right, is going to be joining us. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's February the 28th. It's a Wednesday. In a few minutes, Josh Gondelman is going to be on the phone with us. He's at Laugh Camp Comedy Club March 1st and 2nd this weekend. He's a very funny gentleman, a great stand-up, and also an incredible writer. A multi-award winning Emmys and Peabody Awards for comedy writing. Very funny guy, Josh Gondelman, in a few minutes. First things first. I got some gigs this weekend with Bagmen. We're playing down in Atlanta, Georgia, and Nashville, Tennessee. I'm going to be on a plane. And for the first time ever, I am giving myself the green light to not go into airplane mode. You know why? Because it's completely unnecessary.
You mean you're talking about your phone? You're
My
not
phone.
going to put it... Oh, well, what? Yeah. Looking to bring a plane down over the weekend, are you?
That's what they want you to think, Zep.
Really?
That's what they want you to think. Check this out. The story's always been you could interfere, your cell phone could interfere with an airplane's navigation system. It is a myth.
What?
This is not true. In Europe, since 2022, they've allowed phone calls and data usage on flights.
Yeah.
Planes have had something called a picocell. All planes have had these for 20 years. It's essentially a traffic controller that ensures phone signals don't cross up with the plane's communication systems. Yeah. As I said, they've been around for 20 years. The FAA here in the United States in 2012 found 0 conclusive instances of aircraft disturbances from cell phone usage. But here's the reason why airlines... And in fact, the FAA still says go to airplane mode. And it's very simple. They're worried that people will just make phone calls the whole damn time and annoy their fellow passengers.
Annoy them as opposed to what they're doing now?
Yeah, well, and they're right. So, like if people are on the phone yapping the whole time, that's just one other grievance you're putting onto the plate potentially to spill you're gonna every flight is essentially a low simmering fire of people waiting to lose their minds. If people are able to make phone calls and receive phone calls and yap on the phone, there's going to be more and more air rage, and it's that simple.
Well, I mean, they do. That's a point, because people are going to be now. The earbuds are going to be in, and they're just going to be yapping away, and it's going to be like like being in a grocery store these days. I knew that airplane mode. First of all, I keep my phone in do not disturb 24/7, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I have forgotten a couple of times, and I remember we'll be landing, and somebody will be like, taking their phone off airplane mode, and I'll be thinking to myself, oh my God, I didn't take my. But I figured it out because speaking of the grocery store, here's an analogy: most people can't get through the self-checkout without needing some assistance. I was pretty sure they weren't putting the safety of my flight in the hands of your average hunyuk, me included, that flies. In other words, we're not going to. No one's bringing down a plane, or they're going to hear our phone conversation at the radio tower or anything like that. It just. It leaves too much to chance, because I'm guessing half the plane doesn't shut off that. And I've done some European flights since then where people are on their phones, and I'm looking around going, oh, they don't have the same rules. But I didn't know about the policy which kind of makes sense now, but the cat's out of the bag.
Now, you still have to follow your aircraft crew's instructions, and they do say go to airplane mode. So you can still get busted for doing it, but for different reasons than we were all led to believe. With that, hey, I just mentioned Josh Gondelman's at Laugh Camp March 1st and 2nd. A very funny man, and he's now with us on the KQ Morning Show. Josh, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
We're just talking about the fact that airplane mode is really a myth. You don't need to go into airplane mode. There's no safety concerns on flights. Are you a good flyer? Are you a happy traveler?
I'm a great flyer. I've been thinking about this so much. I've just been thinking about how calm I am when I fly is when if there's turbulence and people start pulling out their phones, like I got to call my loved ones, it's scary up here. I just go, nah, they know. My loved ones get it.
They don't need a last minute message from you.
Wow. Man,
no, I don't need to call my wife and have her listen to 200 people screaming on an airplane. That's her last memory of me. No, thank you.
What a conscientious fella. That's exactly right. You're looking. See, and that shows right there how much you are loved and how much you love her. You're thinking of her even before takeoff. That's lovely.
Thank you.
You don't strike me as the typical life on the edge, let me illuminate the dark corners of the human psyche comedian.
No, I have a very gentle, friendly style, I think I would say. It's tough with comedy because, with music you can go, we got kind of a post-punk sound, or like this is a golden age hip hop sound or whatever. Mm-hmm. And with comedy, you just kind of have to be like, how many swears do you say?
That's pretty, you're, dare I say, a bit of an optimist.
I am an optimist, yeah, which people hate. It is, especially, I live in New York City, where everyone just wants you to be a cynic, right?
Yeah.
Smoking cigarettes, throwing them at rats while they're still lit. But I'm an optimist. I have like a pretty friendly show. It's a good time. But yeah, it is a little different. I have a little different energy than some comedy people might have seen before.
Josh Gondelman, he doesn't throw lit cigarettes at rats. He squats down and lights the cigarette for the rat like a gentleman. That's fantastic.
That's the Gondelman promise. If you bring a rat, I'm not going to throw a lit cigarette at you.
The Gondelman promise. That's the Gondelman pledge.
Bring a rat to my show.
That's fantastic. Josh, you spent years writing with John Oliver. You have 4 Emmy Awards and 2 Peabody Awards for writing. I'll just say that again. 4 Emmys, 2 Peabodys. Holy smokes. Where are those awards right now?
Okay, so 3 of the 4 Emmys and both of the Peabody Awards are on top of a dresser in our little home office that my wife and I share. And I think it's discreet, but it's not like a coy. Sometimes you hear people go like, I put my Oscar under the sink. So when someone clogs my toilet and they look for the plunger under there, they see my Oscar, and I'm like, okay, cool. We have one of the Emmys is at my parents' house, and it caused great strife between my parents, that makes it sound like one is jealous of the other. They live together. It is in the home that they share. And when I brought the Emmy, my mom said, we're going to put it right on the mantle, right in the front room. Yeah. And my dad said, no, we won't, because we didn't win it, so we have to put it somewhere more tasteful. Up on the shelf, obscured by a picture of me and my sister as children. The little horns and kind of geodesic globe are poking out over the top of the picture that my dad placed in front of the Emmy.
That's hilarious. Can I ask what your sister does?
My sister's wonderful. She's a pediatric physical therapist. She's a thoroughly good person. Her work helps people, and I just wandered the country telling stories that happened to me and hoping people laugh at them.
Well, I'm just painting a picture in my head of your folks. Sound like lovely people, but they're like, you brought the Emmy home, and they're like, finally we can let our friends know what he does. Yeah. Our daughter is an angel among earth. Our son, he's just walking around trying to make people laugh, and we're not quite sure what that even means.
Yeah, until there was a trophy in the situation, it was hard to prove to parents, friends, and older relatives that I was actually doing okay. Especially my sister's 3 years younger than I am, but she was a grade ahead of her age. She just skipped a grade really young, like a preschool kindergarten grade. And so she had her doctorate in physical therapy during what I would call the lean years of comedy for me. So she was a doctor, and I didn't have health insurance.
I'm sure she's lovely, but what an absolute nightmare. Come on.
I know, a terror, yeah.
Josh Gondelman's at Laugh Camp this weekend, March 1st and 2nd, both nights, a 7 and a 9:30 show. Oh my gosh, you were a part of the final season of the marvelous Ms. Maisel, which was a hell of a show on Amazon, and I know that had to make your parents feel good.
That did. Honestly, it was really lovely, and it was so wonderful to be a part of this long-lasting institution of a show that so many people loved, and that the cast and a lot of the behind-the-scenes folks had been working on together for so long, and it was really beautiful to come in at the end of something and get to witness how it wrapped up. It was really, really exciting. It was also, I had previously worked on Jesus and Marrow, and my parents watched every episode and understood none of it. So it was very fun to be I'm going to work on a show that all the words make sense to you.
I mean, what says more about your artistic range than Jesus and Marrow straight to Ms. Maisel? That's fantastic, man.
Yeah. Thank you. It felt good to get to do them those back to back and kind of flex different muscles. It was a blast. I've had a real wonderful experience in all these writers' rooms I've gotten to work in.
Josh, I got to say, you said you're from New York City. Everybody's in a grumpy mood, but you're from Boston, where you can get a lit cigarette thrown in your face as easily as anywhere I've ever been.
Yeah, the rats will throw them
at you. The rats will throw them at you in Boston.
Yeah, how does this... And I mean, in Boston, even more so than New York, because it's so much smaller. It's so much more compact. It's got all this. It's got his. I mean, the first time, like everybody that's ever been to both cities and spent time in both cities, there was a moment when I recognized, wait a minute, Boston's tiny. What the hell? Like, you just. I grew up thinking it was just like New York, and it's nothing of the sort.
No, it's physically really small, and I think in some ways it can feel really cozy and lovely. Like, I really love going home and, I'll visit my parents, then drive into the city for a gig and just be like, this is like going into the tunnel or going over the bridge on the way home. It feels so familiar and like home. But then in other cases, it really lends itself to like small town pettiness and gossip in a city of 600,000 people.
Right, sure. So how old were you when you started thinking?
Meaner than New York.
No question. How old were you when you started thinking comedy? Because Boston is a legendarily funny place. There's a lot of great comic minds out of that area.
Yeah, I started doing stand-up after my freshman year in college. I went to Brandeis, and so I stayed around the Boston area, and I had a friend he's a lawyer now, and he doesn't do stand-up anymore, but I can use his full name because it's Joe Smith, so it's hard to trace it back to him. He was doing stand-up, and then mutual friends that we both grew up with were like, well, you always talked about wanting to do stand-up. Why don't you do it? Joe's doing it. What does he have that you don't have? Why aren't you doing it? What are you just going to let Joe do it and not do it? And so in typical Boston fashion, I was bullied into my career.
Typical Boston fashion. That's a perfect way to put it. Josh Gondelman's at Laugh Camp March 1st and 2nd. 2 shows both nights, 7 and 9:30. Boston's also a heck of a music town. What were you into, like high school? Who were your bands?
Oh, man. We would go see shows in the city, and it was always kind of like the first grown-up type thing we would do. We would like take the train into the city, or like when someone had their driver's license, we would go. So I'm trying to think. We saw definitely we would go, or we'd go to Great Woods. That really shows my age. It's now like the Xfinity Live Center.
It's always Great Woods. It'll never not be Great Woods.
Thank you. We would see, we went to see Weezer. The night I started stand up, my sister saw Ben Folds and Guster, and I was like very jealous to have missed that show to like do an open mic. I'm trying to think. We saw a big formative one when we were kids, especially because this was all ages because it wasn't a live concert, but we saw the Rage Against the Machine laser light show at the Museum of Science.
Yes. Oh man, you are.
It's like Rage Against the Machine laser show at the Science Museum is like, if you want to like burn down the system while following all the rules, this is where you go.
You've got a neon 90s sign just following you everywhere with these.
Yeah, I mean, truly. I love seeing live music. It's like the thing that most reliably gets me out of my, like, I should be writing jokes right now.
Right.
So we'll go, I'll still go see real cozy little shows. And then my wife and I have gone to a few arena shows lately, which isn't usually our vibe, but like we finally a year and a half ago went, Billy Joel helicopters into the city once a month and plays Madison Square Garden.
Right.
We should do him the courtesy of going to see him, and that was great.
I love he's taken the helicopter all the way in from the Hamptons. At least we can do is honor him by attending one of the shows.
He scratches our back, we'll scratch his.
That's a beautiful thing.
He sounded great, and he has this bitterness to him that has not left, despite having Billy Joel's career for half a century.
Right.
So he kept doing things like he would play one of the hits. He would play Allentown maybe, and then he would say to the audience, You guys like that one? And people would obviously go wild. And then he would turn to his sound guy and go, hey, Brian, the audience likes it when we play the hits. I was like, damn, that just never leaves you. Like, wherever you go, there Billy Joel is. He's just inside.
That's him. That is him. Josh, real quick, you've got 2 books, and both of them so perfectly titled. One is Nice Try, Stories of Best Intentions and Mixed Results. And the other is You Blew It, an awkward look at the many ways you've already destroyed your life. The titles do a really good job of making me want to look through both. Is there a third book in the works or in your future, do you think?
I'm thinking about it. I finally, because the first one, You Blew It, that I co-wrote with my buddy Joe Berkowitz, who's now a Twin Cities resident, who's the best. He's a great dude and great writer. The second one I wrote by myself, and it came out in 2019, and it took a while because it's a collection of personal essays for me to feel like enough stuff happened that I can write another book.
Yeah, right.
Because I do so many things that I'm not as prolific an essayist as some work there. So finally, I had this idea that I'm kind of tinkering around with that I'm really excited for, and hopefully will start working on in the next month or two. And there will be some news about that. But it's like similar to what I've been talking about on stage when I've been doing stand up. So it feels like I think it'll be a nice companion piece to the hour of stand up I've been working on.
Sounds fantastic. Josh Gondelman, Laugh Camp Comedy Club. That's this weekend, March 1st and 2nd, 7 and 9:30 p.m. both nights. I know you will have a great time. Josh, it is a pleasure to chat with you. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks so much for having me. This was a blast. I appreciate it.
See you. Man.
Josh needs to stay here. When he comes here, he needs to grab a place, stay here. Don't go back to New York. Don't go back to Boston. I don't know how he ever came out of there. When I heard we had Josh Gondelman on, I didn't know too much about Josh. And then I thought, okay, Boston, New York, I see that on there. I'm going to watch a YouTube video. I know just what to expect. And
nothing at all.
Off into nothing at all, but very Minnesotan, right down to his books and his writing. He's nice. He's cool. He's smart. Don't go back, Josh. Stay here with us.
Very, very funny guy right there, Josh Gondelman. That's awesome.
And now for a completely different guest, Christian Hansen is going to join us. Another one of these Netflix docu-series. This one following photojournalist, researcher pushing to uncover secrets behind mysterious death of a journalist who had been investigating. Dig this conspiracy, the octopus conspiracy. That blows my mind. Christian Hansen, our guest, coming up soon. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. In a few minutes, we are going to be joined by a guy named Christian Hansen, who has put together a new Netflix documentary. It premieres tonight. It's called American Conspiracy, The Octopus Murders. I watched the trailer last week, and I said, there's no way I'm watching that, which is what I say when I'm going to watch something for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, not to be confused with actual conspiracies. And this is, by the look of the trailer, going to be one hell of a compelling watch. So Christian Hansen's calling in just a few moments. In the meantime, Tony's out sick today. We wish him all the best and hope to see him back tomorrow. Get well soon, brother. I just saw a headline and I had to laugh because it's every now and again you read something and you look right in the mirror. And here's what it says. 75% of us have skipped an event simply because of parking concerns. And I used to laugh at people that would say things like that. And that's me all day long. I got a call the other day about going to see a gig this Sunday night, and my first question was, "You got parking for me?" I don't know when it happened, but boy, there was a time when suddenly I went, if I don't have a parking space, if I don't have at least the promise of a decent space, I don't consider going much of anywhere.
It's amazing, and as we end up on the porch in the rocker eventually someday, how quickly we talk ourselves out of things. Candace, at your age, we would park 8 miles away. We didn't care about parking. We would stand in line for 36 hours, as you know, for tickets to our favorite concert. But yeah, if there's a slight inconvenience, if I'm not in the front row, or something like that, now I'm just, well, you know what, I'm not going to bother. I've done that before, but parking, that's a real thing.
I don't drive anywhere. Even if I'm going to have like one beer only, I will always Uber. It's just easier, especially just downtown. Why am I even going to waste my time trying to find parking?
Because, I tell you what it is with me is I just want to be in charge of.
Yeah,
I just
a lot
want
of
to
guys
drive.
have
I
that
just want to
issue.
drive. I have that thing. And then again, if you're going to a big event and then you're like, well, I still don't understand how to get an Uber at an airport. Like, I still look for the taxis because I'm like, well, wait, I can call the Uber, but how do I know where it says? And I know there's signs. Here's where you go for a ride share, but then you see a bunch of them and you got to look and you got to go, are you Edward? And I just hate all that crap. Yeah. And it's like a taxi cab. It just says taxi in big letters and you hop in it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Supporting them. And, a lot of guys seem to be like that. They want to be in control and then drive for that reason. And I'm all for it because you can drive me then, Just come pick me up, drop me off.
Pick Candace up. That's, no doubt. We've done that a bunch.
Well, that's very true. Hell, I drove you to your own gig last year, and it was in a different state. I didn't even realize. What kind of witchy nonsense are you putting out?
I don't like to drive. I like to have my car safe and sound at home.
That's a great plan, by the way. You get into so much less trouble by leaving that damn thing behind. You just go to where you're going. But then you are at other people's mercy, like bar hopping or after parties or that sort of thing. Or I guess ride share gets it all done now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
75% of us, as I said, skipped events because we know parking is going to be a hassle. Almost 9 of every 10 say they try to avoid paying for parking. They'll drive around for an average of 10 minutes looking for a free spot. I don't do that. No. I would... If it's a good spot, it's worth whatever they're charging. It's an ass-backwards way to go through life, but that's just me.
Yeah, no, there are some parking, like in Minneapolis now for some of the Twins games. $40, really? Yeah. I'm 8 blocks away, and it's $40. At some point, on principle, I'm just going to hoof my ass down there.
My definition of good parking space is not at all close to the event. It's, am I pointing away and is the egress from the lot quick? It's all about, once I get to the car, even if it's an 8 or 10 block walk, am I immediately moving? Because, I went to a Wolves game earlier this season, and I got in the car and sat in the ramp for 36 minutes, with everyone else. And it was like an amazing space when I parked, and it was the worst space ever when I was trying to leave. So, these are the kind of things you have to balance out when you get to a certain age. Again,
plus they have the tiered pricing on the parking rides. Candace, has it ever happened? I wandered out of the Xcel Energy Center. I Ubered down there, so I hit my old Uber app, and it said, oh, yeah, your ride is $133.
Yeah,
what?
It does happen, especially
Supply
a lot
and demand,
over in that area.
Yeah, dynamic pricing. Did I say tiered pricing? I meant dynamic pricing. That's the fun, cool new term these days to really gouge your wallet.
You got to trick the system. You got to walk down to Tom Reed's or something, hang out there for a second, and then
that's what you got to do. Yeah, go have an after beer or something like that. Go grab yourself a cocktail. Let the crowd disperse.
All I know is this. All I know is this. It just reminds me. 2013, I was in Boston the first time I called an Uber, and you might as well have put me on the Starship Enterprise when that car showed up exactly when they said they would on a road where there was no. I mean, that guy pulled up. I was like, is this real? Like, this is actually happening? I was in absolute disbelief. I thought it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Okay, Christian Hansen is joining us on the KQ Morning Show right now. Christian is behind a new documentary on Netflix, American Conspiracy, The Octopus Murders. Christian, good morning, sir.
Good
I said this before you joined us. I watched the trailer last week on Netflix, and I watched it straight through, and I looked at my wife, and I said, I am not going to watch that, which is code for...
Oh, no.
No. What that means is, holy crap, I'm so freaked out by that, I'll probably watch it twice. It was, it really wound me up. Truly and immediately. Give us, brief, like I say, there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, and every now and again, there's an actual conspiracy, and it seems that you have found one for sure.
Yes. I described this documentary to people who, to new people that I meet as a murder mystery spy thriller documentary. And it's really, it's a thrilling tale, this narrative, and it centers around the death of a reporter or journalist who is from Washington, D.C., and who died under mysterious circumstances in 1991. And through his notes and his book proposals, my colleagues and I were able to put together his exactly what it was that he was working on that led up to his death, so that we could figure out, better what happened to him and who might have been after him and exactly what he was onto. It turns out the story he was onto was real, but it's the kind of story you could never make up. It was so bizarre. There were so many twists and turns and bizarre characters, and we were able to put this thing together in a really exciting way. I can't wait for people to watch it. It just came out a few hours ago on Netflix.
American Conspiracy, The Octopus Murders. It's a 4-part series that, as you just heard, started streaming earlier today on Netflix. Now, it's called The Octopus Murders because it's correct me if I'm wrong. The story revolves around 8 people from various walks of life who, I don't want you to give away too much of the story, but these are kind of 8 guys who, from what I've seen, they don't really they don't have allegiance to a specific country or specific government. They're kind of operating in the shadows but have a whole lot of juice, right?
Well, that was the book that Danny Casolaro was writing when he died was called The Octopus, and he had was featuring 8 different people from the intelligence world. They were all American, but they were sort of, a lot of them were rogue actors who were not necessarily working for the United States interest. They were working for their own interest. And so we named the story The Octopus in honor of the story Danny was writing, and then Netflix likes to get murder in the title, so we called it The Octopus Murders.
What were you investigating that led you into the story of Danny Casolaro? Was he on your radar at all? Did you accidentally stumble into his story? What was the origin of this?
I stumbled onto his story accidentally 10, 12 years ago when I was researching the private prison industry. It's totally random. It really was a stumble. Basically, one of the main private prison companies had also did international espionage work, a company called Wackenhut Corporation, and Danny was looking into the Wackenhut Corporation. And if you see that starting at episode 2, we feature this company's past pretty prominently, and basically I realized he seemed like such a cool guy, and he was working on such an interesting story. I needed to know more, and so I ended up just continuing looking. I didn't expect it to take this long, but just how long it took, because it's a very complicated story. He did a lot in 1 year.
American Conspiracy, The Octopus Murders is streaming on Netflix as of today, a 4-part series. Christian Hansen is with us on the KQ Morning Show. This is your first, I guess, foray into a documentary for something like this, right? You hadn't done TV before this.
Yeah, no, I was a photojournalist, mostly working for the New York Times in New York before doing this. I wanted to write a book, but I teamed up with my best friend as a director, and we ended up making a movie. I guess a photojournalist for the New York Times, you've seen a few things. Yeah, I've seen a few things. I got to work alongside a lot of amazing reporters, and I picked up, I think, hopefully a few tricks along the way.
Right. So you said, so you came across this story 10 or 12 years ago. How much time from the minute you said you did this documentary with a good friend of yours, Zachary Trites, how from, hey, maybe we should turn this into a show to now, how long of a process was this from this sounds like a documentary to this is a documentary?
Well, it pretty much started when one of the main characters in 2017, when one of the main characters was released from prison after a 26-year long sentence. And Zachary realized, this moment is never going to happen again. So we need to document it in case there's in case we're going to do a documentary. We don't know. This thing just sort of happened. He had written it down in his calendar, and we used his credit card, rented gear, bought plane tickets, flew out there, and picked this guy up from prison, and that's pretty much when this thing started.
Wow. Christian, has enough time passed? This is a conspiracy, obviously, we're talking about, at the very highest levels in American, let's just say, society. Was there some concern of yours digging into this that you might be putting yourself in danger? I mean, the basis of this is a photojournalist that was killed, murdered.
Yeah, well, he was a writer.
A journalist, rather.
But, in the course of gathering information and reporting and meeting sources and talking, I did find myself in dangerous situations. But I do think that enough time has passed that, kind of it's water under the bridge, and a lot of the major players have passed away.
Okay.
So I haven't felt that much heat.
Wow.
Yet.
Well, anytime you're in a situation where that's a logical question to be asked, I'm sure that would give you pause. This show is now on Netflix. It's 4 episodes, American Conspiracy, The Octopus Murders. And again, looking into the story of Danny Casolaro, a journalist who was killed. He was writing about ties between a stolen software program, a series of unsolved murders, and some of the biggest political scandals of the 20th century. That is absolutely beyond compelling, and I'm sure this is riveting. As I mentioned, the trailer itself was enough to really get my heart racing, and I thought, oh, God, I'm going to go deep into that hole. Yeah. So I'm sure over the weekend I'll take all 4 of these in. Are you now, do you see yourself now as, I guess I'm a documentary filmmaker? Do you have another story in mind, or do you think this is a one-off?
I've got other stories in mind. Yeah. I want to stick with the documentary trade for now. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see it becoming, I imagine it's all-consuming, but then also kind of addictive to put something together like this. And you're with Netflix, which means you're guaranteed a huge amount of eyeballs, at the very least, a great chance that a lot of people are going to see this. That's got to be pretty exciting.
It's surreal. I mean, it's wild,
Yeah.
This is my first documentary, and it's being shown in 135 countries and multiple languages.
Oh, it's right there on the homepage.
Well, Netflix is, that's a place, Netflix now. We wait for these docuseries to hit Netflix. That's the hot spot right now. And and Netflix is nailing it like no one else has, So American Nightmare was one we had just talked about in great length. And I got a feeling this one's going to create a lot of buzz, man.
Christian, we wish you all the best.
So.
Yeah, we wish you the best, and we'll be watching this, and we will be discussing it on the show. So thanks for giving us the primer.
If you ever want me back, if you ever have questions, want me back, I'd love to. You guys have some great questions. You guys are super smart. It'd be an honor to come back anytime.
Yeah, right on. All right, well, give us a couple days, and we'll check this bad boy out. Thanks so much.
Okay, cool.
All right,
thanks
see you.
And now I kind of want to. Listen to his other radio interviews to see if he said the same thing to other shows.
Yeah, right. See, you're a journalist yourself. You're like my brother Bob, who, as a lifelong journalist, said, anytime Mom says she loves me, I get a second source.
With conspiracy theories, I always start off skeptical because there have been so many wacky ones out there, and I do get sucked into them. And then when I see them starting to connect the dots, they'll miss a dot or two and still hang it up in front of you as a conspiracy. So I'm very curious about this one and want to start connecting the dots through the 4 episodes and see what we have here at the end.
I don't think for one second there are not many conspiracies around us at all times. The problem with conspiracy theories is they're introduced in order to take our focus away from the real conspiracy. For every conspiracy like this that happened and is real and verifiable, there are 36 that are introduced by bad actors who are literally just trying to keep our mind off or keep our focus off what's really going down. I am so sold on this show, and I will watch it, and I will report back. I'm thrilled that this is here.
All right, that's our homework for the weekend. And yeah, you're right. Nothing blurs a conspiracy like a good bogus conspiracy. And you throw enough of them out there. Your average person like ourselves, or above average radio interviewers, I should say, jump into this kind of stuff. We see a couple of crackpot ones from the get-go, and we're like, that conspiracy, and we throw them all out with the bathwater. But Netflix is really, I think, doing a pretty good job of sifting through those. Now we'll see as time goes on if they're just, anyone that has a conspiracy and a camera can throw one together. But so far, Netflix has really been hitting them.
Yeah, they've definitely found. I mean, if you look at any of the big streamers, they go through a lot of growing pains and they throw all the money they can at everything, and then they kind of figure out. And right now, it seems like Netflix they have certainly cornered the market on this kind of thing. They've got a bunch of really good ones up, and somebody over there had the smarts to recognize, well, I know there's one thing we're doing really well, and they're focusing on these, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, outstanding. Well, we've got some time left. We've got sports and music history coming up. I love these kind of topics. This clickbait gets me every time. Delicious meals we loved as kids, but then we now know are weird as adults. We wouldn't combo those together. I got a feeling being a kid is a lot like being stoned when it comes to eating. And I kind of want to dig into this clickbait. It's an article from BuzzFeed. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman.
It's Lisa Miller. I'll warm you up this afternoon with a chance for you to win.
Wow.
I can if you'd like.
Wow. Are you trying to tell us something?
No.
That's
Just a little goof. Sorry, I got sticky fingers.
You know what they say? You know what they say? The gremlins are all over the place some days, and today's one of those days.
Yeah, I'm very Pavlovian. That's what Lisa launches into when we wrap up the show. I feel like I'm done now. I'm just gonna throw my feet up here.
Later, dude. It's been a pleasure.
Put some hot chocolate in on my bagel. Dipping the bagel in the hot chocolate this morning. Yeah, I know. It's kind of cool. I'm out of cream cheese.
Wow, that sounds like a euphemism.
You stoned?
No, I'm not. I've tried that before. I do a radio show way back in the day. I thought, wouldn't it be fun? I tried getting drunk or just being drunk when I showed up to work once or twice. That didn't work out. So then I thought, well, I'll try stoned, because when you're younger, you just don't want to do anything sober. But then, if I was stoned, you guys wouldn't even. You'd hear some chips crunching way off mic somewhere. I just can't put it together when I'm stoned.
Oh my God! If I got stoned right now, there would be very little in the way of anything other than snoring. I mean, I would talk for a few minutes. It'd be like, if I got stoned during the break, like let's say we're listening to Def Leppard, Rock of Ages right there. And as is usually the case, Rock of Ages is playing. I pick up the phone. I talk to Becca for a quick second, and then I set it down, and then I hit the bong, right? And then boom. And then all of a sudden, I am like just drifting, and I'd come back, and it would be, hey, this is Steve Gorman at the KQ Morning Show. And Zepp, Zepp, what are you doing? That's literally what it would sound like, and then I'd be out. Nothing puts me to sleep faster than good old marijuana.
I know. Now that it's legal here to grow, we'll get around to the dispensaries eventually, but some of the edibles, everybody knows, came out on the market early, and then they were retracted. I don't know what they're doing with them right now, but it's the edibles. Those edibles are so freaking potent that, I take a little microdose, and good night, Irene, and good luck getting me up. So you'd think, just do that if you can't sleep at night. Then you get up in the morning all well-rested to do the radio show. Oh, no, I'll have a head full of cotton candy for about the next 12 hours.
Sure.
Yeah. What?
No, it's done. My only successful days as a stoner were days spent on a tour bus at night when literally nothing was or could possibly be expected of me.
Right, yeah, when you could stay up for the next 7 hours, your phone wasn't going to ring, you had nowhere to be. Yeah, get stoned, stretch out, let's see what's on Netflix.
Speaking of phone ringing, we were talking earlier in the show, a report I saw in a scientific journal that said, by the way, in case you're wondering, next time you're on a plane, that whole thing where you have to put it on airplane mode, it's the FAA requires you to do what flight attendants say. They say put it on airplane mode, so you should. However, the old myth that is to help to make sure your phone doesn't interfere with the plane's navigational systems, that is just a myth. There's not a problem at all. And in fact, in Europe, they no longer require airplane mode. The reason the FAA doesn't want you to turn off airplane mode is because they don't want passengers making phone calls throughout an entire flight. There's enough air rage as it is. And if the person next to you is just catching up with old friends and yapping and yapping and yapping, and then the person next to you could also be on a very tense business call. They could be having an argument with someone at home. It just lends itself to just a few more embers nearby, at all times. And so they're like, no, just turn them off, which I, for one, am all for. I turn that thing off for one reason, and it's always been the same reason. Just so if it's a 90-minute flight or a 6-hour flight, if it's whatever the length of the flight is, I love knowing no one can reach me for this amount of time. I'm serious, man. That is the whole point. Because when I first started traveling a lot and flying, nobody could reach you. When that door on a plane used to shut, it was like going into a submarine. You know what I mean? Like, good luck getting a hold of this guy. I'm out. And I loved that feeling. And I get that feeling still. But then again, you could pay for the Wi-Fi. You could check emails, and you see people doing it all around you. The first time I got on a long flight and they offered Wi-Fi and I saw everyone whipping out those laptops, I was sad. I was like, oh, it's over. It's no longer submarine travel. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the business traveler, they get some work done on there. I get it. I'll tell you what, they're expensive. They can be very expensive. They're getting more affordable, but noise-canceling headphones or your earbuds, the AirPods now have the noise-canceling feature that works remarkably well. I've done it before where I've popped off the headphones and what's going on? I just woke up from a little nap and there's a kid behind me screaming. The plane's just loud itself. It's got that sound to it. Boy, noise-canceling headphones will get you through
a lot.
Just a lot. But yeah, flights in general. Everybody put those on and go into your own little happy space. We'll be there before you know it.
I'm a big fan of noise canceling headphones. Big fan of just at least pretending it's still the 90s, and I'm a man without a home. I'm a tumbleweed when I'm on that plane, boy. I mean, hell, that used to be life on a tour bus. It was the same thing. Every night you'd get on that bus, and unless you found yourself at a truck stop with a row of phones and you had the ability to call someone collect, you were just not findable. And man, there's a lot to be said for being not findable. And I know you're saying, well, Steve, just throw your cell phone away. I could, but I'm not gonna. I mean, I do have kids. I do have a wife. I do have people that it's kind of important they get a hold of me. But the idea of one day having a life again where I no longer have a phone anywhere near me is very appealing. The older I get, the more I define success as the day I throw this smartphone into a lake.
I have a friend who's a travel agent, and I often tease her a little bit. I'm like,
still?
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's what I'm like. I'm like, shouldn't you be working for a newspaper now? But no, you know what? One of the hottest vacations she puts together right now in Minneapolis. If you Facebook me, I'll give you her name. Otherwise, I'd have to ask her before I do it in the air. And it's a free plug. I can't do that. But one of her hottest vacations she puts together is the No Tech Vacation. She puts together a vacation for you where you don't take your phone. But how do I know how to get to the local bar or the beach or the event? She covers all of that for you. It's all right there, your itinerary. And when you go, you're old schooling it. You're on your own. You have to figure it out as you go. You've got to figure out where you're going. She does give you a lot of tools to do that, but no phone.
Man, that's really cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
is.
And her hottest clients, not oldsters, trying to live like it was back in the day. No, young kids trying to just escape the tech, get out of the tech entanglement.
Man, I remember, the first time I flew, I was 20 years old, so it was the summer of 85. And I flew up to a family event. My girlfriend's family had a trip planned, and just because her dad was such a great guy, he's like, yeah, I'll fly you up if you want to go. And I got on a plane from Nashville to Philly, and I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. But I had nothing to do with the ticket. I didn't buy it. I didn't plan it. I just went to the airport and showed an ID, and they let me on a plane. I was like, wow. A couple years later, I had to fly to Iowa for a friend's wedding. An old college buddy was getting married. I'm in Atlanta. I got to get to Iowa, and I have a few months to prepare. And I remember talking to a friend. I said, hey, I got to get a ticket. Where do I go? Do I go to the airport to buy a plane ticket? I had no idea. And she said, no, you just go to a travel agent. And I go, okay, where's one of those? And she goes, well, there's one in the mall that my family uses. And my friend took me to a mall, and we walked into a travel agency, and I sat down. And I don't remember. I remember saying to the woman, I have to go to Iowa on this date, and I want to come back on this date. And she said, okay, sure. But what I don't remember is how she accessed any of the flight information. Like, did she have a giant, 3-ring binder? Did it look like the Yellow Pages? Did airlines send you updated pages when they changed times and routes? I have no recollection of how any of that information was made available to her. All I know is she said back then it was going to be like a $240 flight in 1987, which felt like $1 billion.
Yeah.
And I left some money there. I paid it off over. I went to that mall 3 different times when I'd have $80 in cash. I'm doing everything in cash. And then sure enough, I got on flew there and flew back. And that's so crazy. And then I don't even remember how in the world did someone that wasn't at the airline itself have any idea when their flights? How do you know there were seats available? I just don't recall anything before we had everything at our fingertips.
I'm sitting here trying to remember. I've got nothing for you. I know I flew before the internet, but I don't remember how. I know that you could just wander all over the freaking airport. I know you could go to the gate and wait for mom and dad to come back from their warm weather vacation in St. Thomas.
I had a great experience last year, and you just reminded me, not being able to go to the gate. So last spring, I had some gigs, and I was flying out of town. It was the weekend of Mother's Day, so my kids were flying up to Minneapolis as I was going to leave because I had a couple of festivals to play with my band Trigger Hippie. And so I'm at MSP on a Thursday. My daughter's flying in about an hour before I fly out. So I got there and made sure to be at the airport early. So she walked off her flight, and I was standing at her gate to meet her. And, because that was a surprise.
Yeah.
Okay, well, she's 21. That she's never been met at the gate by anyone in her life. That's right. You know what I mean? That's not possible.
Did you have a sign, Dad? Did you make a sign for her?
I didn't, right. But I did have my phone out because as she's clearing the plane and she walks all the passengers in a straight line, and then she hits the open concourse, and then they all separate. Some are going to the bathroom, some are confused. And I'm walking right next to her. And I'm videoing her, kind of, hiding the phone. And she looks up and sees me, and but here's the thing. The first look on her face wasn't excitement. It was something terrible must have happened. How are you here?
Yeah, exactly. You've been brought in by police escort. Something terrible's gone wrong, and you have to meet me. Oh, wow.
It just bummed me out. At that immediate, oh, man, you've never had the joy of walking off a plane and the person's right there to see you, or you're the person waiting at the gate. It just bummed me out. I was like, man, come on.
Although, I will say a little bit of me was semi-relieved. Minneapolis is a hub back in Delta in the days before the internet, before it was back before it was Delta, was Northwest, rather. And it was a hub, and so many flights came through, and living here, so many family members would come flying through Minneapolis on their way to wherever, and everyone had about an hour and a half layover. It was like, come join me for lunch. Oh, well, okay. So out to the airport you'd go, you'd park, you'd walk in, meet them at wherever, their gate, and then walk them someplace, have an expensive lunch, and then they were off to have some fun, and you had to, get your butt back to Uptown or Bloomington or wherever. So it got me out of that anyway. I'm like, can't do that anymore.
Yeah, there is that. That is funny, man. There was a time I do remember, just anecdotally, like, my parents or my older siblings would have a friend connecting, and they would just go meet them at the airport and hang out.
Yeah,
100%.
right.
I totally remember that when you said that. I was like, wait, that goes back to like Baltimore days. The Baltimore-Washington International Airport. When I was a kid, we lived about 10 minutes away from it, but it was called Friendship Airport back then. Yeah. And I remember hearing like, I'm going to go to Friendship and see so-and-so. It was like, huh? Like, what? Really? You just do that? Okay. Well, that's cool.
I feel like
the
Candace
KQ
is just like, texting right now.
The KQ Talking text line, 651-989-ROCK. Candace, we have a caller?
Mark from Inver Grove Heights.
Mark, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
What's on your mind?
Just going to relate something. Back in the 90s, I used to have to fly an awful lot, and each one of the airlines would come out with a published document showing the flight schedule, and I would be all over the place, and if I was like stuck in Atlanta late, I would have to look at the flight schedule. Oh, shoot, Delta doesn't leave anything later than 3 or 6:30. I would have to fly TWA to St. Louis, and then from St. Louis up here, I'd get in at 11. But, if you didn't have those published documents, you would have to go to the gate and then go talk to the travel agent or talk to the people at the desk to try and arrange things. But they would come out with a published schedule, and they would do it monthly, so you could get it updated every month.
Oh, okay. So that makes perfect sense. I've kind of figured that must be the case, but I don't have any recollection of what that looked like or anything. I love the idea that you'd be like, let's see, I got to get TWA through St. Louis. Dadgummit. When you first, but it's funny because when you first start traveling, it's all a mystery and it's all so cloudy. And once you do it for a while, you know every airport, you know the concourses, you just get used to it. And I'm sure for you at that time, as much as you were traveling, it was just like no big deal to think about, okay, TWA through St. Louis. Yeah, I can make that one. I'm going to miss the Delta one by 10 minutes. That's fascinating stuff. It's amazing when you look back. Only look back 30 years, and it feels like 50, 60, 70 years sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel old, too, because I remember when MapQuest first came out, and it was the first place that I used to get to cities like Quebec City and Montreal, because most of the stuff is in French up there, and you have to relate to, okay, I really need to map this out because I might not be able to read the signs.
Yeah, that's very true. That's awesome. Hey, thank you for listening, and thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Great listening to you.
Thank you so much, sir.
You have it so easy when you travel now.
Yeah, I used MapQuest a couple times.
Yeah.
I was never a MapQuest guy. I knew it was there. I just...
Oh, no. I remember printing them out because we do appearances all over the cities. And we got 1,000 suburbs around here that spread out over, the size of some small states. And, we're going out to the Rooster Bar in, Delano or something like that. And I'd be like, I get my MapQuest, print it all out, set it on the seat next to me. Yeah.
Man, it really is incredible to look back. It's really weird, too, how quickly something just becomes the norm. I mean, I remember the first time I got online to just book a flight directly, like by myself. And I think it was on Southwest's website. And I was just like, this can't be this easy. Like, I'm literally going to do this without any interference. I don't have to pay a commission to a travel agent. No one's going to suggest I do this. It blew my mind. And then you do that like once or twice. And again, I immediately forgot whatever used to happen before. It's just what it is. Yeah. Big fan of to this day of booking flights, whether it's for me or for the kid. And now my kids will get their own. But I still have that thing. If I open up an airline website, I'm like, oh, come on. This is really cool. It doesn't even matter if I'm like I have to go give a deposition in a court case. It's like, okay, but I'm going to book the flight. That means I might have something cool happen. I still have that sense.
A little bit. That, and I feel like someone that loves to go antiquing, or garage sale shopping or something like that. I'm going to find the best deal. I know the tricks. And of course they have an algorithm that fights me every step of the way. But, I know how to get the best flight, the best this. And then if I book it here, but I change it there on this date, I'm going to save a couple of bucks, which often, like I said, bites me in the ass because they figured it out for me.
That will do it. Hey, man, as long as we're going back down memory lane at the old days. All right. right, it is February 28th. On this day in 1986, baseball commissioner Peter Ueberroth issued a bunch of suspensions and some pretty heavy fines to a series of baseball players, including big names, Keith Hernandez of the Mets, Dave Parker of the Pirates. 5 other players penalized 10% of their pay. What had they done wrong? Well, it was because of their cocaine use. It was the largest drug abuse scandal in Major League history. And in all, 21 players were penalized. 21 major leaguers took the fall for a league of cocaine use. To quote the late, great Winston Churchill, never have so many owed so much to so few.
I mean, do you think it was awkward when they would see the other guys in the locker room after they got busted down and like, I know all you guys are doing it too. I've done that, been busted at the party. No one else gets busted. And I'm don't judge me.
I think those 21 players, the next time they walked into a locker room, every locker room they entered, they got the slow clap.
Yeah. I owe you, man.
You did it for all of us. Thank you, brother. This day in 2006, the San Francisco Giants got a lot of attention at spring training because they're just doing what they called a chemistry building exercise, and a few of the members of the team dressed up as the hosts of American Idol. Omar Vizquel was Ryan Seacrest, Ray Durham was Randy Jackson, Jeff Facero was Simon Cowell, and Barry Bonds was Paula Abdul. Barry Bonds appeared in full drag, and it got a lot of attention. I remember when that happened because people were like, I can't believe Barry Bonds is having fun with one of the guys. What does it say about Barry Bonds that nobody could believe he could have anything to do with his teammates? Oh, remember, this is the guy who, while in college at Arizona State University, not just the best player on his team, he was the best player in all of college baseball. He violated a team rule, and one of the team rules was if somebody breaks a rule, we vote on whether they can return to the team or not. His teammates at Arizona State unanimously voted to remove him from the squad.
Wow.
He was far and away the best player. The team manager said, thanks, guys. We appreciate that vote. But no, we're not removing. I know I said that we would go with what you decided, but no. So anyway, Barry Bonds it's hardly a new thing that he's a bit bristly, a surly character, if you will.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.